All right, afternoon, everybody. It is now Wednesday afternoon, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to bore you with doing some undercoat on that and the seam sealing. That's pretty boring stuff. I'm just going to go coat the bottom of that. But the important thing is over the next couple of days, getting the wiring harness on the chassis here. I'm really just going to hope that I do a kind of a plug and play type situation where I put the numbers back in the places that I labeled them and it magically starts back up, because if it does, that's great news for me. So what I'm going to do is the underside of the car, and I'll get back to you when I start redoing some wiring. Well, it is much later in the evening. We'll just call it night. And everything is hooked up. I got fuel lines rerun. I just cut the metal line off there and I put a new filter in and ran that up to the back of the throttle body there. I got the gauges hooked up. I got the steering column hooked up. I got the battery on a charger over there, so that should be ready to go. Of course, we don't have any coolant hooked up, radiator. I just, I got it set up so that maybe tomorrow what I can do is just give it a crank, see if it lights off. And if that's the case, I'm going to call it a win. And I think what I'll do at that point is there's a lot of things that will absolutely be totally deleted out of this mess here. I mean, there is no heater, there's no HVAC, there's no radio, there's no ABS, there's no airbag. So, I mean, a lot of this stuff just goes away. But I think if we take this tangled mess here and, we put a little positive charge to it, 12 volts, and see what happens, maybe tomorrow we'll get lucky. I sure hope so. Anyways, I'm signing off for Wednesday night. I just got to tell you, this all here gives me a lot of anxiety. Okay, it is now Thursday night, 10:04 p.m. Just got home from volleyball last night or night before. I can't even honestly remember. I put everything back, labeled my numbers, and everything went great except for when I looked at my list here, number 8, I have from my alternator to the battery positive, and then there was a positive going to the body harness, and then an orange connector. All of these things have labels, but interestingly, I went and I looked at this one, and this says AC compressor is number 8. But if I go on here, I have AC compressor. The blue one goes to number 7. Well, that's right here. Details. So, anyways, all I did is I know that this goes to the body harness, right? That one has a label on it. I did not have a wire going to the battery positive, which I know we need. Everything else is hooked up, and as far as I can tell, I've got grounds on everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera on the tripod, and first things first, I got my ground hooked up to the battery. What I'm going to do is just kind of take the positive lead, put it on there, and make sure that none of this just lights on fire immediately. As long as that's the case, then what I might do is connect the positive to the body harness, and then we'll give it a crank. Got the steering column hooked up, so we'll listen first. Usually when I turn the key forward, you'd hear the fuel pump prime a little bit. So that'll be a dead giveaway. So before I get to doing any of that, why don't we just have people, put a comment. What do you think the chances are that this is going to make any noise with all of this happening here? Thumbs up if you think it's going to make a noise the first time. Thumbs down if you think that it's going to just sit here and be quiet. I guess third alternative is fire emoji because we just might burn the place down. So let me hang the camera up here and I'll get to work. All right, so we got our ground hooked up. I got a bolt to hold this in. Positive touching. I don't hear anything. I don't smell anything. Oh, a beep. I think that means the key's in the ignition. I think that just means like, hey, don't forget your door's open and your key's in the ignition. It made noise though. That's all I was looking for. All right, let's plug this in and see what happens here. We're gonna have to do something about that alarm though. Maybe I can just disconnect that. I mean, maybe that's a good thing to have in though, so I don't just leave it connected whenever I'm not out here. Okay. Little snug on that. Okay, so fire extinguisher is right behind the camera, just in case. All right. All right, let's turn the key forward and listen and see if we get our fuel pump to prime. Oh! I hear it moving. Okay. I heard the pump moving. So hopefully that means it's primed. No smoke yet. All right. We have no coolant in there, so I'm just going to crank it. And if I hear it light off, we'll just turn it off and we're going to call tonight an absolute win. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we got noise, we got the fuel pump going. Oh, no. Service engine soon light is on. Check gauges. Okay, what are we doing here? I turn it forward, the brake light goes. What are we missing? Something's connected here because I'm going to ground here. I hear something clicking in the throttle body. Why aren't we getting our starter to engage? Okay. All right. Well, we got noises. Let me poke around here a little bit and see if I can come up with something. All right. There's a ground over here that was just disconnected. There's a butt splice on either end. I have no idea what it was. There's something else over there that was loose. So, I think we got it. Fuel pump is primed. There could not have been a sweeter sound than that thing running tonight. stoked. See you at Ratstock. I'm gonna clean up some of this junk, disconnect the battery so we don't light anything on fire, clean up the transmission fluid that pumped all over the place because I figured I didn't need to have anything on those transmission lines because I wasn't putting it in gears, whatever, I guess shot all over there. So I don't care. I'm cleaning up. And then I'm gonna strip what I can because I know what I do and do not need now. But then the rest of this is just gonna get shoved under the dashboard because I can worry about cleaning up the rest of the wiring at some other date, I think. So, super duper winner chicken dinner. All right, well, last night, obviously, I was pretty excited about getting this thing running. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna spend a little bit of time seeing if there are some things that I can decompress and get rid of and delete from the harness here. I'm gonna put that up a little bit higher on the lift, and Jamie said she'd help me today. You can see I did some of the roll-on bed liner up there on the footwells. We're gonna do the whole bottom of the car, and I'm not gonna spend a whole ton of time doing the wiring, maybe a couple hours. That'll give her a chance to do the undercoating on that while I'm messing around with this. And then, once that's dry, that's basically where I'm gonna leave it, and that's gonna get dropped back on the chassis. So for today, that's a plan. Let's get after it. Well, here you go. It's about an hour and a half of work. And we got rid of all that, which doesn't look like all that much. We did have one scare along the way when basically what I was doing is I was cutting stuff out that didn't need, like, airbag, stuff like that. I could tell because I know where it went on the front of the vehicle. But then there was one time I cranked it and it wouldn't start. So basically what I was doing is cutting a connector off, starting it, making sure it ran, unhooking the battery again, repeat. Well, one time I had disconnected the connector that goes to the entire back of the vehicle, which shut off the fuel pump and it wouldn't start. And I was in absolute freak out mode for a little bit. I got rid of as much as I'm comfortable up front at the moment. It really doesn't look like it improved the situation at all, but I don't have time to be messing around with it. So I'm going to call it here. I'm going to clean up this stuff, loom some of this and make it look a little bit neater. And then we got, while I was doing that, Jamie did the undercoating here. This is just roll-on bed liner, something I had from a long time ago. So the bottom of the car is coated, which is nice. That's been drying while I've been working. So I'll clean this crap up, neaten that up a little bit, and then as far as I can tell, moving on. All right, quick update. I got to go get my daughter from volleyball practice, but got the top of the motor kind of neatened up here a little bit. Looks okay. I mean, nothing fancy. We're not, show stopping here. Tidied up some of these, bunched these things up here again. I don't have enough of the wire loom to cover that. Maybe I'll pick some up. Fun fact. I already blew that line out with the grinder. As I said, when I was once in a while starting it, I'd let it run for 5 seconds maybe. Headers get hot enough when the airline leans on it that it'll burn through. So we will be taking that out again so that I can, repair that airline again, because nothing better to do. Another observation is if you're ever going to do roll-on bed liner upside down on the floor of a car, makes a mess of your garage floor, so put some drop cloths down. And the last thing I'm going to update on before I leave is that I did the bed liner on the inside of the trunk here as well. So looks pretty good, I think. So that's gonna do for now. I will come back later, push the chassis back in and, redo the airline one more time. And then when that's done, we're gonna take this and attach it to that. All right, here's your late Friday night update. You can see my wiring is piled up on top of the motor. Looks perfect. I organized as much as I could. I'm not comfortable taking anything else off because of time constraints, and I also don't want to cut anything else that I shouldn't. So we're gonna leave that as is. The problem is going to be that I need to get that in the cab. So we're gonna need to make a hole. We might just extend that little mail slot just so it's big enough to get all that crap in there. And then I'm gonna tuck it up underneath the dashboard. So that'll be done and out of the way. What I've been doing in the meantime is I put a second coat of the roll-on bed liner on the bottom of the car. I think that looks pretty good. We're gonna say that's complete. The other thing I've been doing down here is really boring, just getting the brake line organized here, zip tying, making things a little bit, whack my noggin. Making things a little bit neater. In the back here, again, more bed liner there, but I did do battery relocation kit. So that's on the charger now. Put a little LED in there. So we've got our battery back here. I did the bed liner on the entire trunk. So it's kind of where it's gonna end this video, which is probably a lot shorter than the other ones, but there was a lot of excitement in it. So I'm probably gonna come back out here and continue, organizing, cleaning up lines and such. And then tomorrow, I have a volleyball tournament near Pittsburgh. So I'm not gonna get any work done on this until probably late in the afternoon. So hopefully by that point, we can just, merge these two things. And next week's video will probably be a pretty massive mega cut, finalizing everything. So again, appreciate everybody coming back. Hope you're as excited as I am to see this thing running on the road. And I don't know, I'll keep you posted on the progress. Thanks for coming back.